Action! Action, 59, take one. By the way, they're always take one. We don't do this show like over or anything like this. The crap we put out on the first time is the crap you get every time. You're welcome. And this is the 59th night of crap delivered right from here. Again, you're welcome. So, oh my gosh, here we are. It's day 59. We're making a mule. Quarantine Mule, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's a Kentucky Mule. This is as close as I'm going to get. I got people yelling at me all the time. Put on a damn UK shirt. Wear something. I got blue and white on. It's as close as I can get. And you know what? Any day above ground is a good day. Thanks for that one. I'll tell you who gave me that one. So, what do you say we just get this show on the road and make us a little quarantine Kentucky Mule? Let's do it. Blue Monkey. Quarantina. Here we are. Woo! Who's ready for a mule? Now, let's get some things straight right away. First of all, people may be confused because you are already figured out, if you haven't, we're going to be using some bourbon, and it's Tuesday and not Wednesday. I got our whiskey drink already, but by gosh, let me tell you something. I have to give you a shout out. So over the course of 59, by God, days, we've actually got some cool stuff from people. And a shout out to everybody that's done it. And I've tried to either wear it or drink it or something. Now, for example, if you're curious how Way to My Heart, either put it in a t-shirt or put it in a glass. It either has to make me laugh or make me drunk. And by God, that's going to make me smile. And I'm going to put you on this silly little program. I know some things people say, and I haven't got it all out there. For God's sakes, it's not free marketing. But you know what? If you're going to send me a funny t-shirt, I'm going to mention CJ Financial. Thanks, guys. And if you're kind enough to send me freaking copper mule cups, I'm going to say Express Funeral Funding. You want a Kentucky Mule? By God, we're going to make...
With a handwritten recipe card.
That's true. There was a handwritten recipe card in there. And it was good. And I'm going to follow it almost to the T. I got a little bit of it different, but it's all good. But anyway, that's where we're at. So if you're ready, let's make this. Now, the first thing, we're going to make a mule. I got to go back because as I was pulling up all of my stuff about the Kentucky Mule, everything goes back to the original, right? And we talked about the original. But I have to repeat it again because here's what a lot of people say on the intra-web, that foolish place where people do all their research like myself. And but here's one thing comes up. A mule people classify as a drink that is made of alcohol, some sort of ginger beer, we'll talk about that, and then citrus. And what people will say is that the Moscow Mule is called a Moscow Mule because the alcohol it uses is vodka. False! Go back to history, because I love a good story, but I like good true stories. Here's the true story. Remember, our story starts off with the lone, poor John Martin down on his luck because the poor guy had just come across and is now the proud owner of the first vodka distillery in America, Smirnoff Vodka. And he does not know what to do with it because guess what? It's 1941. Nobody likes vodka. This is like crap. Nobody wants to drink it. Nobody wants to buy it. He can't give it away. And as he sits at the bar and, cries over his vodka drink, the bartender, if you remember him, Jack Morgan, not related to Captain Morgan at all, who's the owner of this establishment in LA called the Cock and Bull. He's got his own little problems because Jack Morgan is sitting on a bunch of ginger beer that he's made and he can't give it away. So they're trying to come up with a way to get rid of this thing, and they're working on this perfect drink. And the person everybody forgets about who walks into the bar one night is Sophie Belazinski, right? She's our Russian immigrant who is basically, from Russia with love. No, from Russia with copper mugs. And she brought 2,000 of them over. And they all sit and apparently get drunk on some of this vodka. And they create the Moscow Mule. And it's called the Moscow Mule because the name of the original mug, copper mug, was from the Moscow Copper Company. So every one of those mugs said Moscow Copper Company on it. That's the Moscow Mule. Had nothing to do with the vodka. That just happened to be where it happened. But fast forward, that's our Moscow Mule. The Moscow Mule has probably become the number one basis of riffs. Remember what a riff is? Some sort of spin-off out of it. So people will change an ingredient or add something to it. So in other words, you can do a kicking mule, and that's the mule with, because the regular mule is vodka, ginger beer, lime. That's it. You can do a kicking mule and you add a jalapeno to it and shake it up. Woo! That's a kicking mule. You can do a Georgia mule, and then you add a little peach puree to it. Huh? That sounds like a good one. How about the skinny mule? You use a diet ginger beer on that one. You can do this would be a good one. Mule driver. And that's this mule, add OJ. Get it? Screwdriver. You see how they do it? Are you following the logic on the names? This is not rocket science at all. But then they do these other riffs where they change the alcohol base. And this is the ones that are probably a little bit more common now that we're seeing. So you have the Mexican mule, which you get rid of the vodka, add tequila. We have the Irish mule, Irish whiskey. Mm-hmm. You can have the gin mule or the London mule. Go figure, that's with gin. Then they have the Caribbean mule, which is with rum. And then they have a Jamaican mule, not to be confused with, which is spiced rum. But, by far, the number one riff off of a mule, the best one out there that everybody says, and the most common one that you will ever find that is not a Moscow Mule, Kentucky Mule, made with bourbon. So, when was it made? So here's what's funny. All of these riffs in that, nobody has dates on who came up with it first or how it did, but I will tell you this. In 2016, there was a book of mules that was published. And that mule book, they asked people to basically turn in all these different ideas and recipes. And it was published 2016. That was the 75th anniversary of the original mule. And when that book came out, that's what resurrected. And that's when you started seeing a lot of these new age riffs of mules out everywhere. So that's about as much as I can give you. So how do you make it? Well, it ain't a tough one. Put ice in a copper mug. Now, again, when I say a copper mug, it's going to be a mule mug because it's not pure copper. It'll always have a metal lining. And that is because in 2017, the FDA said that you were not allowed to serve copper and food and beverage directly touching one another. So they forced everybody to, anyway, they said that'll kill you or something. I think it's the alcohol. All right, first thing, bourbon. By gosh, you've got to go with a bourbon. It's a Kentucky Mule. Remember, off of our chart, if we've ever forgotten anything, remember, bourbon, first of all, it's whiskey, spelled with an E, coming out of Kentucky, 51% corn, which is great for a mule. It's going to have a nice sweet. Yes, you can make one out of rye, but it won't be a Kentucky Mule. So 2 ounces is what we're going with. And just because we're doing riffs, I've gone with the New Riff Bourbon. You notice I used a New Riff rye before. New Riff Bourbon. Delicious stuff. Now, star of the drink, ginger beer. Now, I've told you a little bit about this before. I'm going to give you the final part of this because we only have 3 after this. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we're on number 4 countdown. So I got to get all the last little bit of knowledge to you that I got. Ginger beer. Ginger beer versus ginger ale. What's the difference? Well, ginger beer actually was from 1750s when it was first started made, and it actually was an alcoholic beverage. It was fermented, made from ginger. So it was made just like a beer, and actually it was one of the first alcohols that they bottled and would transport. So it was great. It was the kind of what ails you type of beverage because it had ginger in it. However, in about 1850, they started making ginger ale. And ginger ale, just so you know, is a carbonated beverage, carbonated water with ginger added to it. It's not as spicy or strong, but it has a flavor. Typically, it's sweeter. Now, here's what's interesting. They started making that in 1904. John McLaughlin, who's a pharmacist, he actually didn't like the way ginger ale was being made, and it was becoming very, very popular. So he made his own version. The ginger ale that John McLaughlin ended up making is what we all know today. It's called Canada Dry, and he brought it to us. You're welcome. Now, ginger beer, there's a bunch of them out there. Most ginger beers are non-alcoholic. There's a little bit, but not enough that they have to put it on the label. There are some. Krabby's is one, it's 5%, but most of them don't have alcohol in them, and they're delicious and they're good. But they're still a ginger beer because they are still fermented, but it's just a very low alcohol. Now, I have these two because there's a nice little fun story about these. Do you remember, I don't know what episode it was, something, a long time ago, we did the Dark and Stormy drink of Jamaica, right? Or of the Caribbean. So the Dark and Stormy, if you remember, Gosling, right? Captain Gosling, 1857, he's the one, 1857, Captain John Gosling, actually, while he was on an island, he started making black seal rum. And it was delicious. But what people quickly found out is that when you mixed it with ginger beer, it was even better. It was a great drink. And that original ginger beer they used was Barrett's, still being made today. So they had this great relationship because Gosling was on one side of the island making rum, Barrett's was on the other side making ginger beer. They fell in love, it was delicious. The problem is that they got into a fight, and Barrett's didn't like the way they were doing it, so Gosling's basically said, screw you, we're going to make our own. So Gosling's ended up making their own rum and started making their own ginger beer so they could do it all themselves. Corporate. Always wanted it all. They're both delicious. I typically always get Gosling's if you care. But I saw this one out tonight, and I haven't really seen it local, and I thought, well, we'll get that one too. But for tonight, next step. Ooh, you got to go lime first. So it's about 1/2 ounce, so about 1/2 of a lime each one. So just put it in your industrial squeezer, juicer, and then pour that right on top. Not that one, that one. There you go. And if you like it sour, stronger, whatever, have at it. Then your ginger beer. This is it. You're going to top it off. Should be about 4 ounces. The recipe I got was a little, but you want about 2 times the amount of ginger beer. And I know these I've already pre-measured. So about 2 times, so 2 to 4. Some people will go even more. And then you're going to give it a nice little stir. And then, before you do anything else, because we are still alive, and it's day 59, oh my gosh, it's a special night tonight, folks. Tonight's one of the nights where we get to, just great. Fresh Emergency. Folks, I don't know if you've heard about it, it's super orange, it's natural fruit flavors, and it's good in just about any sort of alcoholic beverage. That's coming straight off of their website. Emergency. Not sponsoring us for 59 days in a row. Emergency. Give that a little sprinkle right on top. Both of them. You can come back if you want. Give it a little mix. 2 things. Garnish on this one, actually, and I would wake them up. Oh, I can smell it now. You're going to garnish a Kentucky Mule with mint. Yeah, it's a kickback, a throwback to the mint julep and bourbon, and you gotta honor that. So, by gosh, here it is. It's honored, done. Boom, boom. 2 beautiful copper mugs. Express Funeral Funding, thank you for helping me get drunk tonight. It's awesome. I'm telling you, I don't know that there's any mule that really is a bad one. The ginger beer really makes it. Experiment though with your different ginger beers. They're all good. Again, Krabbies, I like them as well. Just keep in mind when you're using Krabbies, there's probably a very funny line right after that. If you're drinking Krabbies, be careful of, but it's 5% alcohol, so you're just gonna have a boosted drink. But my friends, there you go. A delicious, and I even say this, early on in day, I don't know, 9 or 10 or whatever, I actually thought I would do a mule, I would have a mule night. But, I don't know. They're delicious, but there's just not a ton more history. It's a new drink, 1941. I'm just going to sit and drink this now. All right. So we have 3 left. We have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I hope you can make all of them. Tomorrow, huge night. We basically have the city of Kingston. I'm grabbing a thing. I'm going to show. Look at this. Look at this. Kingsport, Tennessee. Look at this. I mean, we're like a legit bar. We're like a sponsored bar now. So Kingsport, we're tearing this up tomorrow night. We're doing we're going to give the history of the Long Island iced tea. We're having a battle, right? Tennessee versus New York. You know, I'd say Super Bowl, but you're not allowed to say Super Bowl, so I won't say that. But it's going to be fun. So be here tomorrow night, 7:30, same time, same place, and be ready to drink tomorrow night because that's a doozy of a drink. All right, love you all. Cheers. See you tomorrow.